history of Cameroon cannot be told without looking at the concerted effort put in place by chiefs and funds during the pre-colonial, colonial and post-colonial era of the then Radio Cameroon, baptized into German Cameroon on 12th of July 1884 and branded into the United Federal Republic of Cameroon in 1961 and rebranded back into the Republic of Cameroon within the period of 1980s. During the period of the pre-colonial era, the chiefs and funds play an active role in the infrastructural development, social, cultural and political development of their community. The issue of politics, infrastructure was solely in the hands of chiefs, and at the time of the pre-colonial era, that was during the period of 1880s, there was nothing as a president, there was nothing as a prime minister. The least we had at the time was the local prime minister or the village prime minister, which is captioned in the language of the Bakundus people in Momet division as Mwani Moka, that is the village prime minister. During the period of pre-colonialism, we had prominent funds like Fon Achirumbi, we had prominent funds like chiefs like King Bear, King Aqua and King Manga Williams. We had equally chiefs like Kuva Likenye of the Baku resistance. We have chief like Asongani, and Chief Kuva Likenye was noted for his war song that was Jimmy Kombi. A Seba Etondi G Mango, Evanan Juwa Saveya, a Saram Juwa Emokai, a Tondero Mafani. That was when Chief Kuva Likenye launched a Baku resistance. And we've had instances where chiefs and funds solely controlled their villages within the period of colonialism. That was why the German-Douala Treaty was signed on 12th of July 1884 with King Bell and King Aqua. That was just to show you how powerful the chiefs were. And the chiefs equally stated that our wish is that the white man should not penetrate into the interior of Cameroon. They must remain here at the coast. They must give us their trust. We will trade with our bushmen as we used to do before. Our custom and tradition will be maintained, and we will continue to get married as before. That was captioned the hinterland theory, and of course the German-Douala, the preliminary treaty, during which it was stated by the chiefs and funds that the custom and tradition must be maintained. In the advent of globalization, in which politics were now changed and the powers of chiefs were moved to the hands of elected officials, chiefs and funds in Cameroon were relegated at the back seat, and they took the political state in which the politicians were now in control. The powers of chiefs and funds were reduced. In some localities, they were virtually left in the world of their own, but in others, like in West Cameroon, the House of Chiefs was still very active, in which the chiefs represented the aspiration of the people. The chiefs were apolitical, non-partisan, and were just for the interests of the people, and were there to ensure that the development of their community is in conformity with the custom and tradition. But with globalization, in which the introduction of a presidential system came into place, chiefs and funds were now left in the world of their own. We are now looking at regional elections in Cameroon, and regional elections is signaling the advent where powers of chiefs and funds could be returned to them as far as regional elections is concerned. And these chiefs and funds in the north and southwest region are braving themselves up for the regional election. Recently, they met with Cameroon's Minister of Territorial Administration and pleaded that they need to go back to their communities as far as the ongoing armed conflict is concerned. And the Cameroon Minister of Territorial Administration promised that they will have adequate security should they go back to their different villages and continue with their affairs. The chiefs and funds in north and southwest region are braving up for the regional election. The question now is, will they be able to represent the aspiration of the people? Will the chiefs and funds actually speak the voice of the people as they used to speak during the period of pre-colonial era, when we had Fon Achirimbi, when we had Fon Galiga, when we had the prominent funds like Asongani, when we had that of Kuva Likenye, when we had that of King Manga Williams, when we had other prominent funds. This is House of Commons. We need Tamai Jarvis. That is the motion for today. I'll be taking on this. When I come back, I'll introduce to you my guest with whom we are going to continue our discussion. A happy Sunday to you, Madam Shea Rosemary, who is viewing us in Boya. I want to say happy Sunday to you, and a happy Sunday to all those of you who are watching us for the very first time, those who have been fervent viewers of our program. A happy Sunday to you. And we know that it's a rainy day here in the city of Douala, Cameroon's economic capital. In the studio, we are represented here by a member of the Cameroon's People's Democratic Movement. He is someone who is here to speak on the behalf of the party. He is Mr. Joe Valentine. Mr. Joe Valentine, welcome to the program, and thanks for joining us.
Merci. Merci.
Thank you. Equally in the studio, we have the Secretary General of PAP Party, who is vibrant and very active politician, and the one who is the party has formed an alliance with the Cameroon Renaissance Movement as far as happenings within the territory is concerned. It is something which is highly debated in Cameroon's media landscape, but will they be able to pull the string as the heat is on, with Minister Paul Atanaje replying that the DO and the SDO knows what to do? Fabrice Leonard, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Tama Jarvis. Thank you to the viewers of My Media Prime TV. Once more, it's my pleasure to be invited in this program.
Thank you very much to all those of you who are viewing us. We are expecting Fai Elvis, who is a member of the Cameroon's Renaissance Movement, a newly appointed person in charge of communication as far as that party is concerned. His party, together with that of Fabrice Lena, they have formed an alliance as far as that is concerned. But the motion for today, for the first part of the discussion, we have two motions for today in the House. The motion for today is regional elections. The regional elections is Southwest and the Northwest Chiefs. Will they represent the aspiration of the people? I begin with you, Mr. Joe Valentine. You have the Cameroon's People's Democratic Movement. We understand that regional elections were supposed to have been organized since, because when we look at the electoral code, there is provisions there for regional elections. Now, with the elections coming, do you think that the chiefs in the North and Southwest region will be able to meet with the aspiration of the people, because your party controls a lot of these constituencies?
Oui, déjà je vais saluer la bravoure des compatriotes camerounais des régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest, et les transmettre comme ça mes chaleureuses salutations, parce que c'est un peuple, c'est des compatriotes qui jusqu'alors ont tenu bon pour ce qu'ils ont de plus cher, la République, le Cameroun. Et chaque fois, les populations de nos compatriotes des régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest ont montré leur fibre patriotique à rester dans la République. Alors, pour revenir à votre question, est-ce que les chefs traditionnels peuvent-ils représenter les aspirations du peuple, ou du moins de leur communauté? Ce qui m'a plu tout à l'heure dans votre propos introductif, dans votre propos introductif, vous avez cité ce que les chefs traditionnels ont fait pendant le processus de décolonisation du Cameroun. Ils n'en sont pas restés là. Ils ont continué après les indépendances à œuvrer. Pourquoi? Parce que la chefferie traditionnelle se confond avec notre être d'Africain, de Camerounais. Nous sommes d'abord les membres d'une communauté villageoise, d'une communauté ancestrale. Et par conséquent, les chefs sont ceux-là qui représentent leur communauté. Rudolf Douala Mangabel, vous avez parlé de Kimanga, William Mangabel, Etonder, Chief Angwafo, toutes ces personnes-là ont porté les aspirations de leur peuple, dont ils en sont les représentants. Il n'y a pas de chef sans peuple, il n'y a pas de chef sans communauté. Et la loi de 77 qui régit les chefferies traditionnelles définit la chefferie, c'est la collectivité, c'est une collectivité territoriale qui est héritée Alors, pour chuter, je vais tout de suite vous dire que oui, les représentants du peuple, que sont les chefs traditionnels, portent très bien les aspirations de leur peuple. Parce qu'ils sont choisis par leur peuple, par naissance, c'est-à-dire par héritage culturel. Mais nous savons ce qui se passe, les tractations qui se font autour pendant la succession dans une communauté. C'est toute la communauté qui est interpellée. Donc pour cela, les chefs traditionnels sont très bien représentatifs des aspirations de leur je ne veux pas dire sujet, mais de leur communauté.
I'll be coming back to you with the follow-up of that. It's good enough for me to get back to Fabrice Vena, who is a member of the Secretary General of PAP Party. Fabrice, the reason why I started with Mr. Joe Valentine is because I wanted to understand this role of the party. If the party understand that the Southwest chiefs and the Northwest chiefs can represent the aspiration of the people. We are looking at a regional election here, Fabrice, and your party is seemingly stating that the regional elections, the MENO 1 regional elections will hold on the context that Anglophone crisis will resolve of chiefs and funds who are still in some of them not in their constituency. But how possible could they represent the aspiration of the people in which they are not in some of these villages?
Well, thank you very much for the question. I will start by saying that you see, colonialism was the very first element that come to destroy the very cultural heritage of the chiefs and funds, especially some of us that are from the grass field. The position of a chief in the community or the village is sacred, and it is out of place for chiefs to meddle in national politics. They may somehow, by some dispensation, take part in local politics because we know that it's indispensable and their position is, first of all, political. But taking part in national politics and politics that is induced by a particular machinery put in place by a particular party, put in place by a particular system over a long period of time, makes us to understand and conclude that for a given period of time we can all observe in Cameroon what has become of our chiefs. Our chiefs have become beggars. Our chiefs have become runaway chiefs. Our chiefs have resorted to satisfy aspiration of authorities who are government delegates, who are SDOs and DOs, rather than the aspiration of the population of their communities. And this is as a result of the machinery of the CPDM regime, which has destroyed the cultural heritage of our people, which has destroyed the very principles, those values of a fund or a chief, which we cannot today say that a chief is actually representing aspirations of the people, especially with connection to the regional elections. Because when we want to talk about the elections, you discover that it is now a toll for the government in place to use these chiefs to achieve their personal interests, to achieve their personal agenda, which is the agenda of dividing the Cameroonian people from their traditional rulers, which is the agenda of trying to always cover up the truth by bringing in cosmetic measures, which some include the imposition of chiefs, with what we have recently been seeing in different parts of Cameroon, even with what is happening in Beseke Douala, with an imposition of a second-class chief to the people who believe that some cultural rights cannot be carried out by somebody who is from a different cultural background. And all these come to make us conclude that what Jarvis, that the government in place is a government that do not value the African cultural heritage, do not value the people who believe that the position of a traditional chief is sacred.
Are you because are you saying that
If you say the government does not value this, are you saying that the government, because if we look at, first of all, you said the chiefs are supposed to be apolitical and non-partisan, right? And which I share your view on that. But my question now is, when we look at the pre-colonial era, that is before colonialism, the chiefs were virtually controlling all the individuals' villages,
yeah.
and it was not that we didn't have a system of government which was elected officials. The chiefs could control and they fight wars in terms of conquer. Now we have King Bell, King Akwa, we have King Manga Williams, we have Asongani, we have Fongaliga, we have Kuva Likinye. We have prominent funds and chiefs who could decide the future. And when you say that they are not supposed to be political, during that period they control the politics, they control the economy, they control all this, and the government says that, okay, let's give them this power by convening a regional election and say, okay, chiefs, come back and tell us the aspiration of the people. And you say the government does not value. How?
I am not the one to tell you, Jarvis, that the chiefs under the Mbia regime, under CPDM ruling party, have become tools for the CPDM regime in the politics that is happening in our country today. And when you mention the names that you just mentioned of the colonial era, you are giving me the impression that these people were really working for the aspirations of the population. It is some, not all. Let me tell you that some of these chiefs collaborated with the colonial masters against the wish of their people. Meanwhile, that's why I'm coming. Meanwhile, some of the chiefs were actually representing the aspiration of the people. Because when you want to give the achievement of some of the traditional rulers in before the colonial era, we'll be talking about the different colonial policies that were put in place for the chiefs to be able to actually manage the affairs of their people without being perturbed by either colonial policies or the government administration. And we see that indirect rule favored the people to have some degree of autonomy at the level of the chiefs to manage and preserve their culture. Because we know that one of the advantages of indirect rule, from what we learn from history, secondary school history, is that it preserves the values and culture of the traditional rulers. But when you want to look at assimilation, it is a contrary view. Assimilation is actually that principle that the French policy had brought to bring down the values of the chiefs, and that is the same policy that the Mbia government has put in place up to today, in order that the chiefs may not be able to have a food. And when the government in place is doing this,
summarize, please.
Yes, when the government in place is doing this, their principal aim is that they put a gap between the chiefs and the indigenes, so that the chiefs may be loyal to the authorities and the indigenes become an enemy to their own chiefs. And that's why majority of the Northwest chiefs are nowadays in the friend zones and are unable to even have direct control of their people in Grazero.
Fai Elvis is joining us live from as in our studios. This is his first official appearance in our studio in the capacity of the central committee in terms of the Cameroon Regional Movement of Communication, the heads of communication. Fai Elvis, the man of Bunuku, you're welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much. It's my pleasure. Just like as you said, the Deputy National Communication Secretary for the party, it's I just took over not about 48 hours ago, and I think that it is seemingly to move on with the aspect of resisting Yaoundé regime and all those cohorts that keeps CPDM taking us hostage. And as I let you know that the whole issue is a call for concern based on what we're talking about. Greetings to the people of Bunuku village, that no doubt, and greetings to the fund of Barakwe village, that is His Royal Majesty Teven, and the fund of the new village, His Royal Majesty, Babit, and His Royal Majesty Dr. Fomuki Walters, who is watching us right away. That's a fund from Bunuku village. But then we think that good right things must be done, and we will continue to resist Yaoundé regime till death do us part.
I put the question to you before coming to Mr. Valentine again. The issue here, we are looking at regional election, North and Southwest chiefs. Can they meet the aspiration of the people?
Oh no.
As far as regional election is concerned?
Definitely no. A very big no. No with a capital N and a capital O. Let me tell you something that Yaoundé regime is playing a mafia and does not know. When we talk about representation of the people, it's not supposed to be by force. It's not supposed to be under military cover. It's not supposed to be under an atmosphere where exchange of gun is taking place. And just like my brother from PAP is saying, you get to know that they don't have what it takes because they can no longer sit in their respective palaces. Why? Because the chiefs and the funds themselves, a handful of them, more than 95% of them, have sold their consciences to the devil and to the regime.
How do you say that? You take responsibility?
I take responsibility. I am coming. They are listening to me and they are listening to me very well. They themselves, who are supposed to be the custodians of tradition, who are supposed to be the people to represent and welcome people from their villages, from all political parties. I said earlier, it is an error for the regime to say that they put chiefs into politics. Many of them running under CPDM and some of them in the central committee. I asked one chief of recent in one of my investigating journalism when I went to the Northwest region. Now that you belong to a ruling party, how do you litigate cases that come to you when it has to do with frontline opposition members pitting ruling party members when it comes before your law court or your traditional court? He claimed that there will be justice. But it's a fat lie, because when you are not neutral in a situation of that nature, you must be partisan whether you like it or not. These are the issues, and it's not by error. The regime carefully, I repeat, carefully dragged these chiefs in. The first thing was that they put them into salary, so that with the leaders that you have, the more you're unable to dance to the tune, you could find it wanting somewhere along the line. Next, they dragged most of them into central committees and make the chiefs to understand that for development to come to a village, those who are in the ruling party stand a chance of getting development than those who are out. Whereas it is the obligation of the government to develop people whether you are a ruling party or not.
Are you telling us that the chiefs should not take part in the regional election because they should not take part in politics? But when you look at the history of Cameroon, the chiefs were the ones who signed the treaties that we now have Cameroon. If we from the road of Cameroon baptized to the German Cameroon of 12 July 1884, it was because King Bear, King Aqua, and we had other kings that signed those treaties, and they continue to where we are today, when we have a House of Chiefs, as when there was the United Federal Republic of Cameroon, the House of Chiefs, who actually represented the aspiration of the people from the point of indirect rule, which the chiefs were given a mandate to rule their people under the supervision of the administrative authorities. And the government of Cameroon says that, hey, let's bring you back, let's give the chiefs back, the chiefs should be the representatives, the chiefs should come back to the table. And you are saying that it should not happen?
In the present dispensation of things, what you are citing, the sociological and anthropological components with the political atmosphere that went at that time is what we find now.
Okay.
Why do I say so? In the present dispensation now, there are every evidence that the regime dragging chiefs now into these regional issues is a way of making them play the politics for the regime. Let me ask you this question. You are a journalist. Get into the cacophony from the first class and the second class chief, who none of them will partake of the elections. Find out how many of them are opposition. I want to let you know that 97%, I repeat, 97% of those who will be queued in will be from the ruling party. Is that not a carefully calculated attempt? Now, where is the fairness? If the state knew that chiefs were to come in for regional elections, the state would have made things free and fair and balanced in those days. Elections now are one party show. I repeat, the regional election now is a CPDM affair. People know what I'm talking about. That is why they carefully worked it out from the senatorial, even the senatorial election. What was said, if you look at the laws in the senatorial election, that the various regions present 7 places for senatorial, and the state produces 3 per region. Meaning, out of the 100 senators, only 70 will be contesting, while 30 is almost half. While 30, and look at the 30 who are appointed around the 10 regions. All the 30s were CPDM inclined. If you take the 30 of those, most of them were traditional rulers. If you look at the last senatorial elections in the Northwest region, we had a president of the Northwest First Union who was inside. The president of SAWA's Chiefs Conference, the one of late who came from Libya was also inside. Do you think these issues were errors? It's because the state knew that they need to use these chiefs who could use their traditional means. Let me remind you, in one of the elections I covered in Wum, what happens during the municipal elections? The chief in those areas, who were all CPDM inclined, had to catch councillors in a hotel, and they placed a traditional artifact on the road that you cross through. If you cross through, you are waiting for an order, you vow to vote the CPDM. If you cross through and you vote the person or anything, it means tradition will follow you. You can see how the state has pocketed chiefs in their palms, and they use traditional methods and intimidations to intimidate people. This time around, it is a farce.
I will come back to you.
The regime knows that.
I will come back to you, Mr. Joe Valentine. We've looked at the issues here that most of the chiefs are seemingly, as Fai said, members of the party, of your party. How possible can this be in terms of neutrality and the method of selection? First, we will see that in most of the councils, the chiefs are councillors in most of the councils. And secondly, we look at now the conditions under which the senatorial, the regional election is to be conducted. From what we got, it states that compatibility will not be an issue. It means that some of these chiefs will not be eligible to represent the people.
Permettez que je revienne d'abord.
Yes, you have the right to react.
Je voudrais attirer l'attention de mes panélistes pour qu'ils sachent, s'ils ne le savaient pas, que la chefferie traditionnelle est une institution ancestrale qui représente une communauté. En plus de cela, elle sert d'intermédiaire entre la communauté qu'elle représente avec l'administration. Je ne sais pas s'il y a une véritable différence avec Indara Toulouse de l'époque de la colonisation anglaise du côté... Je ne sais pas.
Within the rule, the chiefs were given the powers to control their people under the supervision of the administrative authorities.
Bon, pour continuer dans mon propos, c'était pour éclairer un tout petit peu mes panélistes, pour leur dire que cette valeur-là est une valeur essentielle qui est protégée par la Constitution. Donc mon frère de tout à l'heure a dit que les chefferies, l'État n'accorde aucune valeur aux chefferies. Non, mon frère, la Constitution de la République protège nos coutumes. Par conséquent, les chefferies traditionnelles. Et pour cela, l'État s'organise tel que toutes les structures qui représentent les valeurs des citoyens soient représentées au sein de ces institutions. C'est pour cela on va trouver dans des organes tels que le Sénat, on va trouver des chefferies, des chefs traditionnels là-bas. Aujourd'hui, on parle d'élections. Je voudrais qu'on s'attarde sur les élections. Parce que c'est la thématique. Je ne sais pas, il y en a qui ne peuvent pas parler d'élections. Parce que quand il était question qu'ils viennent aux élections, ils les ont boycottés. Aujourd'hui, ils ne peuvent pas en parler. Alors, il est question qu'ils observent ce qui se passe pour qu'ils apprennent comment ça s'organise. Parce que déjà, l'organisation au sein de leur parti ne passe pas par les élections. Même l'organisation au sein de ces partis-là, on n'organise pas des élections, on désigne des gens. Le RDPC, c'est un parti démocratique. Et par conséquent, il a des objectifs. Faire du Cameroun un État démocratique. Et c'est ce qui est fait. Et le point d'achèvement de cette démarche-là, c'est la mise sur pied des conseils régionaux avec des élections qui sont en cours. Parce que toutes les composantes doivent participer au développement de la République. Alors, les chefs traditionnels, mon cher Camerounais compatriotes, ont un collège électoral.
Electoral college.
Oui. Où ils désignent les leurs qui vont les représenter.
Let me ask you this.
Oui.
The problem here is, based on the electoral code, which maybe I will have to read that in a couple of minutes. It says that the chiefs are supposed to be elected by the first class, second class, and third class chiefs. Now, how is this going to be done when we look at the politicization of the chiefs of North and Southwest chiefs, where most of them somehow are in the ruling party? Is it going to be objective? Can a chief who is not a member of the ruling party be a candidate of the regional election, be elected? On this way, we have front of front.
Ce ne sont pas les chefs qui sont membres d'un parti qui iront aux élections. Pas du tout. Parce qu'il y a deux types de candidatures. Mais lisez le code électoral. Et vous aviez suivi dernièrement, le chef d'État a réparti les délégués par arrondissement, enfin par département, par région, tel que il y a les représentants, les délégués qui seront désignés par leurs pairs, qui sont les chefs traditionnels. Pour ceux qui prendront pour les chefs de premier degré, deuxième degré, qui prendront part à ces élections, et maintenant, les militants, ceux qui sont dans l'activité politique, prendront part à leur élection. Il s'agit ici des conseillers municipaux qui vont élire ceux-là qui sont membres des partis politiques, représentés, parce qu'ils ne participent à ces régionaux que ceux qui ont les conseillers municipaux. Hein? Et ceux qui n'en ont pas, hein, les petits partis, c'est pas leur histoire, hein? Qui n'ont pas pu participer aux élections. La légitimité d'un parti, l'objectif d'abord d'un parti politique, c'est de participer à une élection, c'est d'accéder au pouvoir. Un parti qui s'attarde à appeler au boycott, alors que par le passé, ils ont participé aux élections qu'ils ont perdues. Et encore, c'est ce code électoral qui a fait du MRC. Le MRC a eu des représentants. Permettez, à l'Assemblée, avec ce code électoral. Hein? C'est donc pour dire que un parti s'organise sur le terrain. Un parti, ce n'est pas sur le plateau de télévision. Ok? Voilà.
Thank you. Fabrice,
j'appelle s'il vous plaît, j'appelle, parce qu'il s'agit des élections. Il est question que les Camerounais sortent en bloc, et particulièrement
that will be for a second topic.
That's very good.
Because we have a second motion. I think I want us to round up this within the next 5 minutes. Go on a principal motion, which is the alliance PAP MRC as far as the CPDM-led government is concerned, if that can be possible in the context of regional election. Fabrice, you've listened to what Mr. Valentine has articulated, and we are looking at the context of chiefs, whom majority of them are not even in their localities as we speak. As we speak right now, some of them are out of their localities, just few those within Bamenda, Boya to be precise, are just around, and some of these villages don't even have chiefs. With the politicization of this process, can the chiefs actually, can they pull the string? Can they represent us? Can they represent us if the elections were to be organized in a free and fair way?
Mr. Tama Jarvis, when I listen to Mr. Anjo Valentine, I understand someone who is in his comfort zone in Douala. Yeah, I'm sure he has never gone out of the confines of the littoral, or if he has gone, I'm not sure he knows the reality of what Cameroonians are going through in the suburbs of this country, especially in areas that are having security challenges, like us in the Ground Zero, the southern Cameroons. When you listen to him talk, you understand exactly the mindset of this CPDM government that need to be ousted. I think that the experience that I've learned, that was in Balikumba, Le Fondo, may he so rest in peace, when he was still the fun of this village, because he was a member of the CPDM party. He used his influence, the hereditary position of the fund, to subject all villagers to become CPDM members. Wherefore, if you don't succumb to what he says or abide to vote for CBDM, it becomes sanction and direct challenge to the chief. And in the context of the chambers, I am a chamber where it is out of place for a subject to challenge his fund. What becomes of the fundamental right and freedom of the subject who is the citizen of a country that has the choice of choosing his own political party, political right, and decision of voting the party of his choice? What becomes of that citizen? Because it is some sort of well-designed dictatorship ranging from the smallest unit of the community, which is the hereditary family of the chief, who has decided to take side with a particular party because he's induced by the powers above him to do so. And the chain of dictatorship begins from the village, where the chief is forced to oblige all the subjects to become members of a political party. And this is what we have observed in Cameroon all this while. What has become of the chiefs in the northwest region, where the position of the fund is sacred? Most of them are now CBDM members, and because of their position, they are unable to pass impartial judgments in the villages. Impartial judgment in a situation where subjects come with a problem because of their partisanship with other parties that are a problem to your personal political ambition and the gains that you receive from the government. You are bound to favor those who dance the same dance with you in order to give that person political punishment for his rights. This is exactly what is passing. And when we look at the situation nowadays in Cameroon, we begin to discover that most of the chiefs are councillors, mayors. They are in Yaoundé, being protected by the government because that's the only place where they can go there and be protected. I have attended several local marriages where subjects of people in Babamki, in Bambili, are making documents that are in the name of the geographical delimited area called Bambili, that's Tuba. But these documents are signed and stamped in Yaoundé as if they were made there. What kind of governance is that? And we say that we want development for the country. What kind of development do we want for the country? And he said these people are participating in development. They are participating in development that the people are decrying to the extent of violent crisis that is arising because of this their mischievous way of manipulation of the population in the name of what constitution, what laws? And the country is being dragged to this disastrous abyss we find ourselves today. And they are happy to say, let people come and participate in elections. What election, my friend?
But why shouldn't they participate in elections?
No, elections in Cameroon have been designed in such a way that the electoral body is in control by a particular political party. The electoral system, the electoral code, all these things are what put in place fair conditions for competitive elections.
Okay.
But when this is in favor of one man and one party, how do you expect other people to come and say we want to go and participate in elections? For how long have opposition political parties in Cameroon been participating in elections, and what are the effects? Analyze objectively and tell me what positive effect have a political party representing the people in the parliament or in the local municipality bring forth to the people of Cameroon rather than the misery of the CBDM party. And I'm glad that Cameroonians have become so conscious today. It is time for us all to boycott. Yes, to boycott this regime and party that is working not to protect the interests of the compatriotes.
I will come back to you. I think it's time for fight to talk about this. You say we should boycott that. It's an indirect election. It's not an election of general.
No, it is not even me that is calling Cameroon. Cameroonians are not interested in election in Cameroon. I am not the one who the list of the number of people who are elected.
Mon cher compatriote, you une élection, un parti politique est fait pour aller aux élections. Un parti politique pour aller aux élections.
Conception
Un parti politique s'organise sur le terrain. Par conséquent, si vous n'avez pas les qualités d'aller à une élection,
non, ça ce n'est pas argument.
laissez tomber. Les Camerounais iront, pour ceux qui sont appelés à participer, iront aux élections. Mais continuez à le dire.
Continue le programme.
Continuez à le dire, vous allez perdre votre temps.
Ce n'est pas l'argument là-bas, mon cher. Il faut aussi avec vos arguments les Camerounais doivent aller aux élections, les partis politiques sont faits pour aller aux élections. Ce n'est pas ça. Si les élections ne peuvent pas satisfaire l'aspiration du peuple camerounais, on doit les boycotter.
C'est pas la...
You're welcome back from that break. We want to apologize for the technical issues. Fight Elvis, maybe I continue. Will you fight? You have 2 minutes for this so that we move to the main topic of today, the second motion. I think the second motion, I know it will be heated, but please, we have to respect the party discipline for each, for the various members here, for Cameroonians to watch. Fight Elvis, you've been through the hills and the nooks and the cranite of North and Southwest region back to back. Keeping your MRC cap away, wearing the shoe now of an Anglophone person, I want to find out this. This is an indirect election, and the chiefs are to be elected by the chiefs, not by politicians. Are you saying that they should not go in for this election? And are you saying that if they are represented, they will not represent the aspiration of the man in Abukunjaman, the man in Gokitunja, the man in Furawa, the man in Gunuku, and the man in Bova, Wonakara?
Let me tell you the realities on the ground, because I know CPDM regime is made of arrogant people who care only about putting in place cosmetic elections, whether it is credible or not. It's not their business. And I say this because I'm somebody who has been caught in crossfire. Today Munya had got series of gunshots in the market. If the CPDM man sitting here, Mr. Valentine, was in Munya, he would not be blowing his grammar he's blowing here today.
Of course.
If Mr. Valentine was at food market on Monday, on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, and at my Trinquen, with the action of gun battle that shuts the town completely down, this grammar he's talking here will not be there. So it boils down to what Mr. Fabi said, that some of them are speaking because they have not crossed. While the few of our brothers who are supposed to give the realities to Yaoundé and to the CPDM, their minds have been bought over by the devil. That is that. Coming to your answer or to your question, you see the chiefs we're talking about here. I said that if these chiefs are to stand, even if they have been pocketed because of grant monies that the state gives them, but this is the period for a chief to show that he stands with his people. This is the testing rod for the chiefs in the northwest and the southwest to show proof that they stand by the people. If they say no, we cannot go in for this bullshit when things are still hot. Why am I saying so? In my area in Benue, I'm sure Mr. Valentine does not know, 2 of the chiefs were kidnapped. The phone of Kuboni is still in custody. Pourquoi? I am coming. Don't worry about Pourquoi. I am coming. So keep on.
Another one was kidnapped from Zankabi village, from their respective palaces. And what was the issue? Now, the kidnappers, that we presume that should be separatist fighters, kidnapped them on grounds that they cannot be going to sit in meetings in Yaoundé pretending that all is well when people are suffering back home. That was the excuse. Excuse me. That's it, democracy. I am not saying that the kidnapping of the chiefs was correct. But on the reality of the ground, the atmosphere is tense and the realities must be faced. Because each person stands with his own point of view. MIC has not said kidnapping of chiefs is correct. But what we are saying here is that when the atmosphere is tense, the regime in Yaoundé must know the reality. I don't mean that they're saying chiefs will go to respective areas. And I ask the question, how many troops will you station at each palaces to guide these chiefs until they vote and leave the palaces? In my village in Dengui Central Subdivision, we have more than 29 palaces, fronts in that area. Do you think it will be easier to deploy paramilitary troops in order to operate only from Dengui alone? Ngi is different. Ngi has more than 40 and 50.
I will not just look at the context of the election itself. I'm talking about the aspiration, because they can be guided and the election.
That's why I said that the aspirations of the funds cannot hold. On the other hand, the funds owe an apology to the people they abandoned in the heat of trouble and sided with the regime and the CPDM. I say again, the traditional rulers consent or an apology.
But who is chasing the funds away from the villages? It's not the military.
No, it's not.
So they are not chasing.
No, excuse me.
Chase them away.
There are two factors.
I don't know the most.
There are two factors, my brother. One, the first category of chiefs and funds are those who escaped because they know that their presence in the area cannot be. There are some funds there. I repeat, there are funds, some of them in their places now, and sometimes the government accuses them of being pro-Amba because they say, but if you are able to be here in this palace until now that your peers are running away, it means you are supporting Amba. I'm speaking with the one-on-one. I don't want to start citing. That is the first place. Some escape because they know where they stand. They know they have never represented the people apart from siding with the regime in Yaoundé. Point number two. The other category are those who have been chased away by the non-state armed actors. I have said, we don't support that funds should be chased away. But the way you live your life will tell whether the people have support for you or not. Now, Fabrice knows, we have the issue in Dabaki where a phone was killed. It is abnormal in the history of custodians of tradition in the Northwest that somebody lays a hand on the phone. Chief. If you begin to see that in some community, the phone of Saw, His Royal Majesty being low, the people, most of them, they do not even want him there. I'm sorry to say that. I don't know how you might judge it. I work on the ground, I've been to Saw, and you see him taking refuge elsewhere. These are considered who is supposed to be there. Go to Bafut phone is there. You think he's a madman? The phone of Mancon is there. What happens? Even though he wears a political cap, they have been able to wear the aspiration of the people on the ground. While other folks who have worn the civilian cap have decided to be walking and thinking like sheep. In that case, they work against people. Aspiration, I must tell you, Taj Jarvis, over 90% of those folks have lost the target between themselves and the people. I am speaking as an investigating journalist who has been on the ground, and I left the ground 1 week ago, and I'll be on the ground in less than 5 days. I'm talking about field. If any civilian person who has been on the field in the Northwest Southwest, who has been to Mwa, who has been to Kumbo, and has been to Sabon Garim, as I have done, I can argue that person here. But all those who sit here in the air condition offices and are blowing grammar between here and Yaoundé, they are deceiving you. They are deceiving you because the problem of election is not election. Tell them this. The issue of election is how credible it is. Look at the last foreign election that took place, municipal and
party went for the presidential election.
Excuse, I said last. I said municipal and parliamentary. I know what I'm talking about.
I think 2018 is last.
No, excuse me. I said the last one, municipal and parliamentary. I'm putting my context. I always want to give you a context to put in it. I have a point I'm driving, and in context I'm moving.
Summarize.
Now, in this context, when we said people should not go there and others went to it, let me ask you, for the parliamentarians in the Northwest, and the South, and the senators, how many of them can stand and show proof that they represent the future of the people? Do you know that many of them have bought lands in Douala and Yaoundé, bought permanent houses, and they said there, only 1/10, less than 1/10, are embarked in the areas. I can say because I want to cite names. So you can realize that if you run an election, the point is not election, the point is how credible it is. How possible can we see that you represent the people? Mr. Taj Jarvis, if I carry an election as a senator and it is getting rough and I'm running out of my area, it means that something is wrong with me. It means I cannot call the people and say, please, drop their guns at the door, because I lack what we call credibility in the whole thing. And that's why we here at CRL, while running in this subject, are saying that our problem here at the level of elections is, let us have an election and people who can represent the people, not people who go and fight with their stomach, working something with the regime, when their villages have been burnt, when they have been killed, when there's extent of gun battle, when people have been sent back home, when gun is ravaging left to right. It is abnormal.
It is abnormal. Elvis, thank you very much. That was the first part of this. We'll come back after this brief transition to move to the second part, which will be so crucial. And I want to beg that the second part, we should respect the aspirations of the panelists. Thanks for joining, and stay tuned. We'll be coming back for the second part. Thanks for joining us. As you can get, it has already started. Before I announce, this time around we are looking at the second part. Can Kamto's party, Professor Maurice Kamto's party reorganization, can Professor Maurice Kamto's party reorganization and alliance with PAP oust the CBDN regime, as Maurice Kamto stated in one of his press conferences that he will, of course, call for a peaceful protest if regional elections were to be announced and the date were to be announced, if Anglophone crisis is not resolved. And before then, Professor Maurice Kamto had earlier called for massive registration into the voters register, that Cameroonians go and register, and a week later he said no. To him, Anglophone crisis should be resolved before regional elections. And mind you, regional election is an indirect election. It's an election same like a senatorial election, which is not from the general perspective, but are voted by municipal councillors, and the chiefs vote for their chiefs. And just to give you a hint as of that, I begin with you, Mr. Valentine, Joe Valentine. Can this Kamto's party has reorganization? Can the reorganization of Kamto's party and the alliance with Fabrice Lénard's party, PAP of Aya Paul Rabine, can it oust your regime?
Je ne peux rien dire sur la question, mais je ne suis pas du MRC pour savoir quelle est la politique d'organisation du MRC. Je ne suis... Permettez que je... Oui, la bouteille. Je ne sais non plus qu'est-ce que va représenter le parti de Paul Aya Abiné, mais c'est des citoyens camerounais. Ils sont libres, un parti est une association, chacun est libre de créer son association, de l'organiser tel qu'il veut, mais sous le respect des lois de la République. Bon, le MSC s'organise. Vous m'auriez demandé de vous parler de l'organisation du RDPC, que je serais plus à l'aise. Je ne peux pas, c'est perdre un peu de mon temps, parce que Maurice Kamto, pour parler de lui comme président leader du MRC, ne représente rien. Il ne représente que ses militants. Et il est citoyen camerounais. Paul Aya Abiné, c'est pareil. C'est des citoyens camerounais qui ne représentent rien. On représente un peuple. Quand on va à une élection, je peux saluer la participation de Maurice Kamto aux élections présidentielles qu'il a perdu. Maintenant, qu'est-ce qu'il représente après ces élections-là? C'est terminé. Le titre de candidat à une élection ne t'augure pas des privilèges. Quand tu as été, c'est terminé. Tu reprends ta place de citoyen. Et ce que le peuple a donné, leur onction à leurs votants, cela parle au nom du peuple. Et ils défendent les aspirations du peuple aux différentes instances, les différentes instances dans lesquelles ils sont appelés ou ils ont été élus. On a vu certains partis aller aux élections législatives et municipales qui ont des maires.
I believe that your party has failed to resolve the ongoing Anglophone crisis. President Biya, which is the party chairman, was the head of the AHA committee formed by President Hijo in resolving the Anglophone crisis. In 1990, when President Biya relaunched multi-party politics, he was still told to resolve the Anglophone crisis. In 1996, when President Biya, alongside with the Senate parliamentary majority, reintroduced effective decentralization, it took 26 years before it was resolved till today, when your party has rebranded it into accelerated effective decentralization, and yet the crisis is still on. What stops President Biya, chairman of your party, to remove the solution during the hour committee which is chaired to
le processus de résolution de ce qu'on appelle aujourd'hui la crise anglophone est en marche, et l'aboutissement ou la mise en valeur de ce processus de résolution de la crise anglophone, pour l'appeler ainsi, c'est le point d'achèvement avec les élections régionales. Parce que ces deux zones ont un statut particulier. Je ne veux pas faire le bilan de toutes les mesures qui ont été engagées, pas par le président du RDPC, par le président de la République du Cameroun, Paul Biya. Il ne faut pas, si vous le réduisez au président.
It's difficult. You bear with me that it's difficult to separate CPDM from the government. You bear with me that it's difficult. It's difficult. I mean, I know fact that
je ne vais pas refuser. J'ai la majorité à l'Assemblée, donc je fais un gouvernement avec les partis alliés.
Ok.
C'est qui est normal. Mais pour revenir à votre préoccupation, vous savez très bien, c'était hier ou avant-hier où le comité de suivi du grand dialogue a essayé de faire le bilan de ce qui a été mis. Permettez-moi que je chute.
Yes.
Vous avez posé une question importante. Alors, nous savons tous que le statut particulier est une des résolutions du grand dialogue qui a accordé ce statut aux régions en crise.
Okay.
Alors maintenant, le point d'aboutissement, d'achèvement de ce processus qui devrait donner aux populations du nord-ouest, aux Camerounais, du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest, leur valeur intrinsèque, par le respect de leur héritage colonial, et en même temps de leur héritage traditionnel, parce que les chefs traditionnels y seront. Il est question que ce point arrive à son terme. Le chef d'État a mis tout en place pour appeler à la résolution du conflit anglophone. J'en suis fier.
Yes, briefly, let me ask you this briefly. Our mothers are watching you right now in Gokitunja, and all the nooks and crannies in Way Village, Widikum, want to know the special status. As a member of the CPTM party, what is the special status content all about? We assume that we don't know.
Reprenez la question.
What is a special status? What is particular about the special status? What is it all about? Now tell those Cameroonians who are watching you what that special status package is.
Oui, mais nous savons tous le contenu du statut. Mais je vais vous informer après l'émission. Après l'émission, je vais vous donner des éléments. Je vais vous donner quelques éléments. Je vous donne quelques éléments à l'instant. Je vous donne quelques éléments à l'instant.
Please let him learn because I'll come back to let him
learn. Les chefs traditionnels ont un statut particulier dans les régions.
Quels sont les éléments?
Si vous voulez un cours, si vous voulez après l'émission, je vous donne. L'essentiel, allez-y. Le statut particulier, le commandement qui a été instauré en énorme, le respect de tout l'héritage anglo-saxon de la colonisation, le recrutement des enseignants anglophones dans les différents dans les différents niveaux d'enseignement du Cameroun, la mise en place des fonds d'investissement de ces zones-là, il y a une somme d'éléments. Mon frère, je pense que vous avez demandé succinctement. Je vous en ai cité. Ok. Thank you. Vous dire que là, oh, le jeu, non, ça comme ça. Je suis I'm coming back to you. The reason why I allow him to talk this lengthily, because I wanted to set the pace. You guys interrupted him consistently, and so I wanted him to learn, because when he was talking, you were interjecting. Now I wanted him to explain the special status to you. Your party is stating that you form an alliance with CIM because President Biya, who was one of the chair of the AHO committee during Aïdjo's days, and now president of the republic, has failed to resolve the Anglophone crisis. And you think that if the regional elections are to be held, you will move to the street. Minister Paul Atanganji has replied to you people in few words. The SDO and the DO knows what to do.
Intimidation is no more an effective tool. Let me just say to the Minister of Territorial Administration and the government of the CBDM regime under Mr. Biya, that has
le président de la République, c'est
Mr. Biya, okay, the president of the Republic. He's a old man. No. Il vous représente, pas moi, s'il vous plaît. Excusez-moi. Mr. Biya, who has failed not only Cameroonian people, but has destroyed the country. And we think that it is necessary for Cameroonians to take the destiny of their great nations into their hands. First of all, the Popular Action Party have noticed that for the past 38 years, the only thing that the Biya regime has delivered to Cameroonian people is excessive back roads, taking youth to become alcoholics, making the country to go to economic drain. We are in serious economic hardship, intensifying tribalism in the country, divide and rule, where he has succeeded to hype all the different elites of the country: traditional elites, religious elites, political elites, economic elites. If you don't succumb to the CBDM machinery, you are either denigrated as someone that is destabilizing the state or an enemy to the state. They have also succeeded to push the people of the southern Cameroons to the world to react with armed violence that we of the Popular Action Party have never supported the people to take arms, because we think that non-violent action easily yield fruit than violent actions. But it is because of the irresponsible manner of the government in place, the arrogance of the government in place, the pride and the hyper concentration of power in the hands of one man that see himself not only as president but as a deity who people need to thank in all circumstances of their life, even when they are being given the special grace of God not to die in an accident. 28 is quite appalling that in Cameroon we are saving the interests of an individual. I want to make Cameroons understand the nature of the country that we are living in and the necessity is for them to take the destiny of their, because it's a follow-up question you ask. I'm still in your it's a follow-up. In 2011, your party went in for the presidential election. Of course. And during the period, your party still went in for municipal election. Of course. Your party, 2018 party boycotted the elections. Of course. Now your party has no legitimacy in terms of the regional elections. I think we should get this clear in terms of the criteria. The only legitimacy that we may have now is as per the chiefs, because chiefs are not parties that are political, are elected by chiefs themselves, which means that you can go behind the chief. And now, how do you say
how do you first of all reconcile this aspect of moving to the street for a regional election, which is indirectly
when you say legitimacy,
in running for the president, in running for the elections.
Allow me to clarify on the issue of legitimacy. In Cameroon, the issue of legitimacy have been juxtaposed in such a way that it, this concept and notions of democracy, legitimacy, legality. In Cameroon, the CPDM people and their propaganda way of speaking, just like my brother, I pity him because he's a young man. He's a young man that has a young way to go in politics. But when he has chosen the way of interpreting concepts to suit the whims and caprices of himself and that of his party, it is quite a call for concern. Legitimacy in Cameroon has to do with two aspects: consistency and credibility. Consistency in your stance and credibility in terms of what the population, which are supposed to be the people that give legitimacy to representatives, talk about you on daily basis in the ground, and how far you can move freely in the context of that society without being harmed. And how your conscience gets you through. Excusez-moi. So you discover that the Popular Action Party had recorded facts from 2011 presidential elections and 2013 municipal legislative elections that we concluded, in the context of the regime in place, no elections can ever deliver representatives of the people. That's the first thing. And then the second aspect is that only extra institutional means can uproot this well-rooted government in manipulation to stay in power. And the extra institutional means is protest, street manifestation. It is the same procedure that has restored the other African countries like the Burkina Faso, that uprooted the 27-year-old government of Blaise Compaoré, like the Nigeria that uprooted Bouteflika in wheelchair like his peer in Cameroon, who wants to stay incapacitated and want to continue ruling the people, like the people of Mali who said that no. It is the responsibility of a people. It is the responsibility of a people to replace a bad government with a bad leader with a good one. And I will how is that going to be done by Cameroonians? Stop falling into the trap of the CPDM manipulation and words of saying that the context is not the same. That is why we PAP will look beyond party positions, we look beyond political positioning. This is time for selfless sacrifice. When we receive the call of Prof. Maurice Kamto, somebody we respect a lot because of his political stance in Cameroon based on the context, and a letter that was written to Njang Denis Tabe, the national president of the PAP party, we responded yes. This is a good call. This is something that any other political party will say he or she is genuine, or civil society should respond positive for us to stand together in order to see how we could put our tentacles together and uproot this government. It is only through that process. If you are waiting for elections, we will continue burying people every day in the northwest and southwest. Nothing will come out of this government.
You've listened to Mr. Njo Valentine, you've listened to your alliance, because this topic came because PAP and MRC form an alliance to thinking they can oust the sitting president. Your president Elu recently did a reorganization. I said your president, because they call him your. I'm not saying the president Elu of Cameroon. I say your president Elu claims they have reorganized the party and that they want to stop regional election by all costs. But the Minister of Territorial Administration, always vibrant and highly active, says, in quote, the SDO and the DO knows what to do. As far, how is that going to be possible?
Let me first of all correct you.
That's very good.
You have said, claim to have reorganized. The party has been reorganized with new blood pumped into the National Executive Board, and not that claiming. The communique is out and official.
No, I said as reorganized.
No, you said here that claim to have organized.
We know, has claimed to have reorganized based on
when you say claim,
regional elections.
different things. Claim means that it is an assertion that cannot be verified. But this one is verified. You have communicate. Yes, it's official. If I'm sitting here, I'm not saying because I claim to have been the Deputy National Communications Secretary, but because I have been.
Of course.
So the have been and the claims are two different terms. Thank you. On the other hand, you know, the regime has its way of responding. But now, let me just get straight into the crux of the matter. If we look as what you find, can Kamto's party in alliance with PAP, understand? Ask President Biya. The first thing I have to let you know is that while you find that caption there, the issue here is not partisan. I repeat, the issue here is not partisan. That's why when you get in the last press conference organized in Yaoundé by President-elect Professor Maurice Kamto, what was he saying? He was calling not only on politicians, but calling on Cameroonians, members of the civil society, and different strata of life. Meaning that to us, since as a suffering of the Cameroonian people is felt not only by those in the CRM, not only by those in the PAP, the market women, the Bensikines, a country that thinks that when you ride on motorbike is an employment, is an error. I repeat, any country on earth that takes motorbike riding as a profession to say they have given employment to thousands of persons, that country and the leadership has a question mark. So in this case, what we are saying here is that the alliance we have with PAP is not only an alliance limited to political party, it's an alliance where the call has been made for all genuine Cameroonians. Let me tell you something you don't understand. Do you know that even members of the ruling party, when we do several debate forums or platforms, they complain that it's not moving, and they tell you that it is just that they are doing their job, but they know the right on the ground. It means that even within the system, the oil is not well. So the suffering, if you look at it, look at the accident we're talking about, that just happened in the final. We thank God that at least people were saved. Caused by bad road. Do you think when bad road is instituted, it selects poor people? It selects only downtrodden? No. Even you, a minister, can be part of person and victim of that bad road. So these are the consequences. We say that because all are suffering. Let you know something, Jarvis. Do you know that the businessman who is working probably in Yaoundé, or someone working in the regime as a director in Yaoundé, you know that the money, do you know why they invest it? One of the reasons I investigated regarding the investment is because what they get and the dependency rate on them is higher. A minister who gets 700,000 francs and has more than 50% on his family relying on him is forced to embezzle. But if the state had done all what it takes to reduce poverty rate and then by better equipment and all the like, you would have a minister who could earn even 200,000 francs and will not depend on 10, 50, 30% from his family because they have been rendered unemployed. These are the issues we are saying that from every indication, people Cameroonians need to take their destiny into their hands. We have said it is not a matter of us, it's a matter of Cameroonians because we are going now far beyond party.
How is that going to be possible? I ask you again. And as Minister Paul Atanyanji said, the SDO and the DO knows what to do.
Excuse me. Let me know something. When a party puts forth its agenda, working with its allies, the party will not come here and tell you how it will go. Because the party tells us from the various hierarchies of the two parties and all those who are aligning, civil society organizations are also queuing up. Why are they queuing up? Because they have realized the reality. And how is it going to move on? As you say, when the time comes, you will get rightful information. We are communication officers. When the time arrives, the party head office and the central structures that concern will give us instructions. We will come back here on this platform and tell you, journalists and the population, that this is how it will function as spokesperson for the respective
because
parties.
The government will say that's insurrection and that is rebellion.
You will judge it the way you like. But what we are saying here is that, let me tell you something, Mr. Jarvis. In as much as the state has the fundamental rights of governing the people have the fundamental rights of agitating if their rights have been seized. Okay, the rights of Cameroonians have been seized because the right of Cameroonians is that we need good governance. It's our right. We have the right to have what it takes to live well. If we're living below poverty level, it means the state has stolen our rights. And we have the right to fight back and tell the state that you need to give us our right. That is the scenario that will be put in place. When the time comes, we will give you the steps accordingly. But then to run up, for just one word. When I hear John Wardai says, it's a monkey. These are arrogance. These are arrogance.
Exactly.
In dictatorship. When Mali was rising, we're not supposed to rise in this case. I'll give you an example because comparative analysis. When Mali was rising, even Keita himself, little did he expect, is imam. It was not a political party. I'm talking about in Mali. It was an imam.
I was coming to this solution.
So you realize that context varied. Briefly, why Keita was coming up as an imam, in Mali, while the imam was calling for insurrection, the Keita himself, as Abubakar said, is so key. So,
2018 elections, at the peak of the ongoing Anglophone crisis, CRM went in for the election. Then the Anglophone crisis was at its peak. Municipal and legislative elections, CRM boycotted the election on the grounds that electoral reforms were supposed to have been put in place before the party can take part in this election. Now, there is a regional election coming up which CRM has virtually little or nothing to do with it, and they say they want to stop the election and oust the president. And how is possible how is this going to be possible for an opposition leader to lead a peaceful protest to oust a sitting president? That has never happened in Africa, in the world. See that being done by individuals.
Let me answer you squarely, because you made an error by asking PAP aspect of illegitimacy. Not
the illegitimate intention how the party was used.
Let me give you an analytical point of view now. How those operations function. Each party, due through its educational measures, can inform those who are potential electorates not to go in for election through political education. You bear that. What am I saying? The point here is the elections are political. Whether a party is involved or not, the party has a right to play, has a role to play. Because the party can educate people. Be careful. You have been doing this and you have not been seeing results. If you are going for this, it could not be very good. And I think that we are talking because I'm talking as
you do that in 2018 in municipal election.
Excuse me.
How will you do that in the election?
Excuse me. The error you have, I understand you, is that scenarios are varying. Let me tell you that because some governments take things for granted, because step 1 was ignored, because step 3 was ignored, because step 9, it means that step 10 will be easy as biscuit. Studies has proven that in the governments in Africa, most of them have been ousted under very minor circumstances, taking them unaware. When they expected it to have been very good, it did not happen. Where they needed, I said, man, it's a monkey, it's a man condemn. Before they know it, that's why I said that in a root government, they almost give this adage. Now, chiefs listen to us. Do you know that we have chiefs within the party?
The same chiefs who say they are political chiefs.
No, excuse me, I'm coming. I did not say 100% of them. You know, it's not analysis. I said majority seems to be prone. I understand you. I still have to prone. You want to support this time. I want to support. My statement here is 90% of the chiefs. And how is the chiefs? Excuse me. Listen to you. You are not going to do yourself. If I say over 90% of the chiefs are pro-CPDF, immediately 10%. After the 10%, there are some who are neutral, who are not going to politics.
How is that going to affect?
Excuse me, I'm coming. There are some who are not even to party politics also. And a few who are in the other political party. It is a reality I'm talking about here. So I cannot say 100% of them are in the ruling party. Else I should be contradicting myself. That's why I explain that while we are on this debate, we should also listen to what we say so that we don't say you said this when the analysis is given.
That's why I put it to you. How will you influence the 10%? Because 90 is a super excellent.
And the error you think you are making here again is that you think we are concentrating on the 10%. I have said, I made an anecdote here, that even those who debate on platform as bona fide CPDM communicators give us other views when we are away from the studio. I don't want to do that.
Thank you very much.
What am I saying? It means that when we talk about propaganda, it is not all persons who believe on propaganda who believe in propaganda they give because they have been given a role to play. In real terms, you'll be surprised that even within the ranks and files, I have a handful of communicators on CPDM who have not been given opportunity for promotion because sometimes they call them as not true CPDM militants because of their views of objectivity. Why do we call that? It means that what we are saying about this, our opponent is Cameroonians. Time's out. And as we take this, as time is going up, I want to let you know that the issue here is not CRM, it's not PAP. We can take the lead because we have the vision and we have the courage. But the issue here is Cameroonians, civil society, even those who are in the ruling party who go for scrums. They could believe now that if you leave now with the right thing, many of you will not go for scrums.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We are running out of time. Briefly, your last word. Briefly.
Oui, je vais tout de suite dire aux Camerounais et particulièrement aux compatriotes des régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest d'être les témoins de ce que nos compatriotes sur la table sont en train de dire. Ils prônent l'insurrection, ils prônent
briefly, time is fine now.
Ils prônent les troubles, il prend la mort.
Peaceful protest is not.
C'est grave. Alors, je continue à dire, ils n'ont pas les moyens. Ils n'ont pas les moyens à leur insulte. Je dis, voilà une élection, on a parlé des sous-préfets et des préfets, et puis
Vous faites n'est pas grave.
Voilà les camps qui organisent les élections au Cameroun. Ce n'est pas les sous-préfets et les préfets qui organisent les élections au Cameroun. Ils accompagnent les élections au Cameroun.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Pour dire, monsieur le président du MRC, monsieur Atta Javis, il y a un seul président élu au Cameroun, c'est pour bien. Bon, c'était une parenthèse. Monsieur Kanko, le président, pour le nom du président élu, c'est le président. Il a déjà la République élue. Le candidat, monsieur Kanto, n'a jamais mis ses pieds au nord-ouest et au sud-ouest. Il va jamais y aller. Il va jamais y aller. Demande-moi de dire. Oui, dans thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Mr. Les élections les petits partis vont attendre. Les petits partis vont attendre. Sortir de soldats.
Yeah, because the petty parties. I want to first of all tell Cameroonians that please beware. These CPDM people have really decided to continue brainwashing Cameroon. Beware of their brainwash. That is the highest element that have kept the youth stagnant. Some of us that are still very young in our 20s and 30s, we are the one that they are sending our heads to go and be killing other people. When you are a young military person, think of the people that you are protecting. Cameroon is the only country in Africa where majority of those that are handling the three arms of the government, executive, judicial and legislative, are people above 70 years. It is abnormal in 21st century in the world today.
Thank you for this.
Take your destiny.
Thank you. Elvis, your last word before we take it from you.
Well, my last word is that if we have small parties as they call,
then the party should not take moves that tremble to the government. The party should not cough and militias everywhere. It means the regime itself knows the strength of that so-called small parties. The machine is ruling. Cameroonians, be wise, of course, as he wrongly misquoted us by saying we're talking about insurrection. The word peaceful protest is away from taking arms, and that's the weapon of the regime. Always taking words and threatening them to see that we are capitalists. This time around, Cameroonians rise up, because the war in the northwest, for how long we are calling on our brother here, Mr. Joe Valentine, to take the message that it is abnormal that President Moise has gone to Bamenda, has gone to Limbe, that's southwest, and for 4 years and above, the state has not, the president of his party has not stepped foot in northwest southwest. It is ringing a bell. Watch out.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and for watching. Fact check. You are watching us. Both parties, both Professor Maurice Kamto and the President of the Republic, have never been to the Southwest as far as the ongoing annual crisis is concerned from 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. They have never been into the terrain. They may have been from 2015, 2014, 2013, 2012, but as far as this country is concerned, as far as have never been every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:30 is a live program we broadcast every Monday at 1. And if you within no matter the matter, what matter is your matter, and what should matter for you today is that stay out of trouble. My name is Tama Javis, and happy Sunday to you, Madame Rosalie.